Okay, this question is from Ladder Towel 8927. I think what I'm hearing is, right, what I'm hearing is that you've got four players on your U12 team who are playing at a higher level than the rest of them. Two of them are very good at following instructions. Two of them are not. So, for example, you said that can take the ball forward and they won't track back. What I'm also reading and hearing is that you're trying to diversify the roles of players on your team, and that you feel that if you don't want to reward the players who don't listen well, um, and because maybe since they're not as good as following instructions, it seems like you're incentivizing them the wrong way. And I'm also hearing that you're trying to develop the abilities of not only these four players, but your team as a whole. And you often find yourself you splitting them up. You'll put two up top, two on the defense, this, that, and the other thing. I actually think that you're going about this. I think there's a more effective way that you could start thinking about this, right? Because if you take a step back, it seems like your head's in the right spot, right? You want to develop your players. You want to. It seems like you're committed to teaching them different roles, which is excellent, right? You want to. Right, grow your team skills and just have a lot of fun, right? Have a lot of fun and develop your team, and I think that should be the focus. And naturally, some teams. Sorry. Yeah. Do you mind if I speak with my camera? I'm just recording a response question.
Yeah, don't worry. Doesn't bother me. Don't worry.
Thank you. So, by being present like you are and asking these types of questions, I think you're already doing enough, and I think you should actually focusing on making practices more fun for your team, because if you can make your practices more intense and competitive and fun, then that energy will transfer into the games, right, effortlessly, right? If you raise your competition at practice within your team, it's almost like there's a quote that goes something to the effect of like your training is going to grow your team and your practices, and more or less, right, great competition will do that. But I think players get more touches during practice, right? You think about any player on the ball in a game, they're not going to get more than 100 touches at the youth level, maybe 200 if they're playing midfield or something like that, right? And if they're U12, they're playing 40 minute halves, maybe 45-minute halves. So in this sense, right, I think you should also. So here's two strategies going forward that you can not only grow those four players, but also some other players who you're not considering, who this question isn't even in regards to. If the whole team has a decent background of technical abilities, so all of them can pass, shoot, and dribble effectively, then the four things I think you should spend time doing every day in a practice are warm-up, possession, finishing on goal. When I say finishing on goal, 10 minutes should be side netting, right? Low, hard-driven balls into the side netting. If you want to see what I mean, search Mark Cintron goal versus Spain. This is a player who I played with our coach, right? Our coach Doug Nevins would have us do this finishing drill, and this is exact replica of what Slotsville should look like. And then the next is volleys, right? So 10 to 15 minutes of finishing on the side netting and volleys, then transition to crossing and finishing, 4 lines total, 2 serving lines that are alternating, 2 attacking lines that are crisscrossing, no defenders, no whistle. And if you don't have a backstop behind the goal, you might have to reset and grab all the balls and bring them back to your serving lines. And then after that, you want to finish splitting your team up into three mini teams, right? And you bring the goals in very close, and the team that's sitting out, you have them as bumpers, and you have them as neutral players with one touch each. And what this does, it raises the competitiveness level, because if you only have two teams, then there's no risk reward, right? There's no benefit from winning. But if you have three teams and a team goes off, you're going to raise the level of competition within your teams. And plus, when the players play as bumper players, they're more engaged instead of doing whatever on the sideline, right? They want to be on the field playing, so they're going to be tuned in, present, and focused. And having them engaged as bumpers is going to make the game more fun overall. You can run that practice, right? That's each one of those takes 15 to 20 minutes. 15, including warm-up. That's an hour 15 right there. So that will help, that'll start to make practice so much fun that now your team's gonna, if they recognize that pattern of training, they're gonna be able to, they're gonna look forward to it, right? This is the same coaching routine that my coach, he coached me for three plus years. He was former Gatorade Coach of the Year when our team was ranked 1 in the nation, U17 boys, right? This Doug Nevins, Coach of the Year. So that's a practice strategy. The second strategy is that you want to not only develop your team on the field, but think about the potential of time that your players on the sidelines. You kind of want to turn your game time for your bench into a mini skills and drills clinic, right? Each second that the boys on this bench aren't getting touches on the ball is a disservice to themselves. It's going to make them more tired. Scientifically proven. That's, if they're in a sedentary state, there's a cascade of negative effects that are going to start hitting them, and that may not be realized at that age, right? Because they're young and limber, but you feel it. If you're older, you start to sit for long periods of time, you get sore back, sore this, sore that. So, right, in 20 minutes, if they can juggle, in 20 minutes, you can get 1,000 touches each player. If you have a roster of 18 kids, 6 are on the bench, that's 6,000, 7,000 touches at least each half. So I wouldn't discount that time, right? So now all these kids, not only are they going to get more touches on the sideline, but they're already going to be warmed up, right? If they're already warmed up, there's no downtime. And so that's the second strategy. Utilize the time that your kids are on the bench. The shoelaces, yeah?
Yeah, I do some work in here.
The third strategy is that you want to, at the halfway mark of your half, right? So let's say you're in the first half, you want to sub out all your 4 strikers. I mean, two forwards, and then maybe your 2 wingers, and then at the halfway of the first half, right? Then you bring on 4 more players, and you leave those 4 players on. And you could leave your star. You could leave your star. Your star kids on the field, right? You could leave your 4 strongest players on the field. But when you put in 4 of the subs, and you keep this pattern, so the pattern is sub out 2 wingers, both your wingers, both your strikers, right? Or just pull out 4 players, right? And put in 4 more players. And you want to leave those players that you put in the first half. You want to leave them into the second half, right? Leave them in for the start of the second half until halfway into the second half. And then you put the 4 that you took out in the first half back in to finish the game. And what this does, this is effective substitution, right? Effective substituting. This is gonna, if your players start to see this pattern, there's gonna be more of a team cohesion. It's gonna feel like like they're playing. It's not just subs and bench players. They're gonna feel it. This is another strategy that I noticed that my coach Doug Nevins used to do, is that he would make effective substitutions. I've been on teams where coach would friggin' literally take one player on, he would come off for literally 2 minutes, and he would sub the same player back on with another player. Like nonsensical, irrational subbing that was not effective at all. Like it was perplexing, right? I was perplexed. I was just lost at why he would do something like this. But what this starts to do is you get more effective minutes from your team, from your bench. You're going to get more effective since the forwards and the wingers know they're going to be taken off at the half-minute mark. It's not like, a lot of coaches, someone makes one mistake and then they friggin' pull up, and then you start to create this fear mindset in a player, and it's like the most damaging thing to their confidence. And it just, if they're walking on eggshells in the game instead of thinking about absolutely nothing and just having fun and, connecting passes and, just the joy of becoming lost in the game, right? That's what they should be thinking about. Absolutely nothing. Not, oh my gosh, I made a wrong pass, or I got the ball taken from me, now I'm being taken out. Like, that's not the mindset you want. So what this does is it gives you the opportunity, right? Let's say Tommy makes a mistake in the first half. You say, hey, Tommy, great work doing this. I want you to consider doing this a little bit better, and then, keep up the great work, right? Hit him with that sandwich, positive, negative, positive, critical, positive criticism,